Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again. I'm Aditya, co-founder of Karchi, and welcome to this Nuxt series. So this video might be a bit longer than the normal videos or the previous videos, and here we are going to create a small app, which is going to be a weather app where we will display the weather information of a particular location. And this is pretty straightforward. I'll be using an external API. So this is if you are aware of Rapid API, they provide like free open source APIs, and each API has a daily or monthly limit. So I'll be using this Aries Weather API, and we will just whenever we select the location, we'll just pass it and get the data about that weather data about that location. So without any further ado, let's begin. So here in my index.view, I made a bit of modification. So I took a selector actually, and in that I selected like I'm getting data for three locations. So London, Paris, and Cairo. Okay. So this value, I'll explain you how it works. So just for now, we are using these three locations. We'll also try to use another location if possible. I have created a button where, so if you remember @click, so it's same like on click listener in JavaScript. In Vue we have a click event, like it's a Vue event, and whenever you click this button, it just says that whatever inline JavaScript or function name is here, just execute that. So it will just execute that get data. If you go to Rapid API, to the Aries weather, they will give you a code snippet. So I have just modified that code snippet and I'm using Axios for this. So you need to import Axios, and after you import Axios, you can just like use it like this. So let's see now further how we have like how to take it uh, forward from this point. So we have environment variables in nuxt.config.js. So you can create environment variables like this. So I have created an environment variable for API key, API host, and API URL. So if you go to Nuxt documentation and just type env or environment property, you will see how to declare the environment variables. So generally you don't need the .env module to be installed. So what you could do is you straight away have that env object like this in your nuxt.config.js, and you can just declare all the key value pairs or all your environment variables in the key value pair. So once you declare it here, Nuxt knows that all the environment variables are here. So how to handle that? We will just say process.env, which refers to this env. And from there, I want API URL. So I just want to have API URL. So it will show the API URL and then the API key, API host, and so on. As I'm using location, so the location is coming from here. And if you see, the format is the city name and the country initial. So this API works something like this, that it has the base URL first. So if I go here, so this is the base URL. And after the base URL, you pass the location. So that location format is something like city name and the country. So that's how I'm passing it here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now let's try to, if you, yeah, the small validation as well to make sure that this location value is not blank. So if I go and run our app, so if I go here, so it says you need to select the location. So now let's bind this location with our selector. So how to do it? In Vue, you do it with something like vModel. So what is vModel is, it is the view property on an HTML element which says that whatever value I type here, it's only for input elements only. It's input HTML element and input tags or HTML input elements only. So it's select, input type text, email, number, all wherever you take input from, everything can be binded with the our vModel property. So it's a two-way data binding actually, but yeah, it's a two-way data binding. So how it works is we will write the name of the variable here. So in this case, location, and we will also return that location over here. Now Vue knows that location dot value, or this location's value is binded with this three things. So whatever you select from here, if I select London, then location.value, this location.value will be London, UK. If I select Paris, location.value will be Paris, France, or whatever the value of the selector is. So once that's done, now let's give it a try. So if I go here, refresh the page, and now if I say get data, I don't get anything. But if I say London, and if I hit this, if I go to console, okay, I'm not displaying it. So what I could do is I can just have here something like if, not if actually, let's have div, and in this div we say v if. We if is another thing where if a condition is true in whatever this code we pass, if that condition is true, then this div will be shown on the on your on your page or on your in your HTML. But if this condition is if this condition is true, then it is shown. If this condition is false, this element will appear nowhere, like it won't be part of your HTML at all. So let's do this. We will say div v if location. Actually, we should say something like let's use this. We'll need this as well. So let's return this here, and we will just check if the key exists. So I will say if response, actually not response, actually interval, because we are already having the response here, and this actually returns an array. So response does data. It gives you all the data from the API. From that API, we are targeting the response, and the 0th index, the response is the array, and we just want the 0th index of that array. So interval in receive data, then just put in here receive data dot interval. So now if I go here and just press London, select London, so I will say the interval is coming over here. So that's all about it. And now let's go and create the this thing returns the data for 7 days periods. Like for each location, it returns the forecast for 7 days period. So let's get that forecast, and we will loop it over our all those 7 days period, and just pass it into a separate component. So let's have a separate component. So I'll just delete this one, and let's create a separate component here. So we will say day data dot view. So this will give us the day data, like the weather forecast for that day. So let's create a template here, and our composition API script. So let's import ref from composition API, something like just simple boilerplate with one root div element. And here what we are going to do is, once we select the location, once we hit on this, so let's keep it in one div dot input. So let's wrap this in one div, and let's go here, and let's now create another div, and here we will have our data class equal to data elements. So what we will do now is we will say once we have our response, we will just loop over that response. So I'll create a list here, and each list will be like the component. So we will just say li, and then we will pass each list will have this day data. Now instead of writing it for 7 times, we can use v for. So we will say v for, and the syntax is simple. So we'll say item, so like this, item comma index. So item is the value of whatever we are iterating on, and index is the index of that value. So I will be iterating v for in item index in, and where we are iterating it on our received data dot period. And then we will also need a key. So we will say key will be this index. Now why we need this key? So that Vue knows, or Nuxt, because Nuxt is Vue only, so they know that they can keep the track of this DOM elements or this list element. So that's why we are passing a key. So here we will just say our component name. So I will, as you know, that components are auto-loaded in Nuxt. So we don't need to import it separately. So I'll just pass it like this. And here I will write this is day one. This is day data, something like that. And then we'll just take it forward. So if I go here, select a location, get data, and this is data, this is data, and we have 7 days time. So now let's put it below. Let's style it a bit actually. So what we will do is we will say for this container, there must be a code for this. Okay, so it's display flex. So justify content center. So we will do flex direction column, and we will say align content center. So this would be something like this. And let's give a margin of top as well. So margin top would be around 5% maybe, top and bottom margin. So this will take it a bit below, and then we have our thing here. So, and let's give it a width, like so input, let's give it a width of full. So full width, and let's give it a width of, so these are all Tailwind classes. So I will give it a width of say, so 75%. So if I just refresh this now, so we have this well sprayed and nicely written. So now let's see London, and we have this data. Now let's make it into a proper component. So what actually proper styling? So what we will do is we'll go over here. We will say each div is going to be a card. So we will give it a Tailwind classes. So we will say width will be full. Height would be say 96 if I'm correct, because in this, so if I go to Tailwind, and here if you type height, it will show you all the values of height. So actually 90, yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. So 96 is, it's in rem. You can also have height in percentage. So let's see how it works. And let's give it a border. So border, and border gray 200. Let's give it a bit shadow, and also let's give it a BG of white, and let's see how it works. So if I go here, you'll see that we are having certain things here. So let's do this, London, select data, and we are getting this. Okay, so something is going wrong over here. Let's see what's wrong. Let's put some data here. It's data. Okay, so these are a bit too long. So what we will do is we will keep it maybe 48. Let's do it half of it. Yeah, this is nice. And then let's give it a margin. So my of 3. So top and bottom margin of 3. And let's give it a width of, actually it should be full width. So I guess I just need to do it this width as well, full. So I'll say W, this one, width full. So now if I refresh this, London, get data, and yeah, that's perfect. Maybe we can do 3/4. Let's keep it 75%. So it will be aligned with this, whatever we have, London, and yeah, this is okay. So now after doing some decent styling, now we'll just display our data one by one. So if I go to the API, if actually the response, so if I just control the response over here, this one, or rather let's pass it as a prop. So we'll then display the data in the props. So how it works is, so whenever you want to pass data, so this all page is the parent, and this day data, the component, is the child of this parent. So whenever you're passing the data from parent to child, you can use props. So how props work is, so you just need to say, so you can bind it. Okay, I'll show you first. So here, first you need to declare props like this, and props can be an object with the key value pair. The key is the name of your props, and the values is the validation like type, value, and all those stuffs. Or you can have it as an array like this, and then each element of that array is the name of the props. So here I would say day data, like that's my prop. You can take any name, that's not a problem. And here, if I'm doing day data, I will say day data equal to whatever value I pass here. So now I want to bind this day data with this item, because whatever item is here, I want to pass that in each component so that I can use that separately. You'll get to know what exactly I mean. So how can I bind that? I will just use a colon before this, so that whatever I write here will be like this. If I don't use the colon, it will be treated as a literal string, like literally it will be item. But if I put a colon, then now it's binded with this JavaScript property or whatever property we pass in here. So that's done. Now how to receive the props? So you can receive the props over here in the something like this, so props, and then in the this is composition API way actually, and then you can have those props defined to your data, and then you can render it. So how it works? Pretty straightforward. Instead of ref here, you need to use two refs, like this, so that the reactivity is maintained. And then I can just say console.log. Okay, let's take first const, and we will say val data equal to 2ref, and here we will pass the props, and from that props we need day data. So whatever day data we receive, that will be our props. So console.log data. Now, oh, sorry, data.value. Now here is the thing. Let's see what we are getting. So if you see, we are getting this undefined, undefined, undefined. Why? Because let me show you why. So if I go here, remove this, refresh the page, and now if I go here, London, and if I go here, you will see now we are getting all the details correctly. So if I remove this now and go to Paris and get data, we are not getting anything. Like the display is not working. Why? Because this props, once the value of props change, props are read only. So if their value change, we need to have a watcher for that. So in the same way, in the header we have watcher for our route property. In the same way, we will need watcher for the data property, so that this thing would be can be displayed. So how we will do it? Simple. We will say console watch, and here I will take watcher, and what I want to watch this data, and this would be a function to be executed, and when this data value change, just display it here so that we know what's happening. So if I go now, refresh the page like this. Now if I go here, London, get data, nothing comes here. If I go to Paris, get data, we get the data. So London, back again, data. So that's how it works. So initially we are passing the first item data, so that's why we are seeing it. And okay, so once we have this, now let's try to display it over here. So what we will do is, I go here, in each array I have the average dew point, average temperature, so we'll say average temperature, and we will also put the date. So this is the date for us, and humidity as well. We will show max temperature average temperature and minimum temperature. So we can show max and minimum, and we will show, okay, this is different. We will show the sunset time, and I guess this should be okay. Wind speed and everything we can, okay, there is also, yeah, we'll show how the weather is. This is important. We need to show how's the weather. This is the forecast. So okay, let's do this. Okay, so here we will simply go and say first, so let's do it by div. So we will say first div will be the date, so date, or let's just say data for, and let's have it like this. So this would be the date. So here if I go, okay, I need to return this so that I can use this return data. So in that I want date time ISO data dot like this, data dot date time ISO. Okay, so this is the date. If you see, this is mostly like non-human readable format, so let's try to convert it into normal date. So if I'm correct, I guess I need date function, so I should say date, and then I can just pass it like this, and it shows me the date, and I need to then format this. So if I go here, it shows me the entire date according to that format. So it's Wednesday to June, this time, and this is the time zone, and this is the British summer time. So why is it in center? I don't want it in center. So after some styling, we are back again, and now, yeah, this is looking great. So let's remove here this thing. Let's remove this, and then we will have so we have date. So let's give a padding as well to the container. So we will do p of 2, some padding, so that this thing is not exactly over there. So this is the date, and now we will display one property one after the other. So date, and then we will need this would be our data dot, if I'm not wrong, this is so okay, let me see if I'm consoling that again. So if I change this to Paris, get data. Okay, so here we have average temperature. So average temperature C, avg temp C, average temperature, and then this is this thing. We will have the max temperature as well, and minimum temperature, so we'll do the same thing for that. Be this max, minimum, and min temp C, minimum temperature and max temperature like this, and we'll say degree Celsius, if I spell it correctly, Celsius, here and here. So we have this here, which is not exactly okay. Let's keep it C. Let's have a superscript. Superscript. We can have this like this, so it becomes degree Celsius like this. So just remove the space from here. We'll say superscript again. I don't know why it's not working. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. And then superscript. Same thing over here. We'll just copy that actually, so that we can just use it. Yeah, superscript. So we have 15 degrees, 17 degrees, 25 degrees. What we will do is, if we see that this temperature is above something, like say 20 or above, then it's hot. 20 or 15 to something, like, we'll just give a color coded range if you know what I mean. So let's target the max and min temperature in that case. So max temperature, if it goes over here, we'll do like this. If, sorry, so class, we'll bind this class actually. So if max temperature is greater than say 15, then the class would be text red 500, else the class would be text gray 900, something like this. So now if you see, like, the max temperature becomes all red whenever it's above 15. So maybe we can go yellow, or I'm not sure if there is orange. There must be orange actually. No, there is no orange. Okay, let's do yellow, and let's do it like 600. Yeah, so this is okay. And let's only have it on the degree Celsius so that we can do it as well. So all we need to do is remove the class thing from here, and we can just put it right here. So this would be a diff with this property, and actually we can take it as a span. So span with this property, and then all will be under this span. So now if we go, that works perfectly. So this is how you can have dynamic classes with Vue. So you can bind the data to the class, and then if the temperature is above or below, you can just dynamically bind it. Okay, that's done. Now let's see what other things we are getting in that API. So if I remove all this, get it for London, get data, and if I saw somewhere there is an image, so there must be icon. Yeah, so the icon, okay, I just need to find the URL of it. So just give me a moment. I'll just skip this part till I find the accurate URL for this. All right, so this is where you'll find the Aries weather icon. So if you go to Aries weather support docs API downloads, then, or even if you search for Aries weather icon set, you will see it over here. So once you click on it, you can download it. So I have already downloaded it and I have put it in my static folder. So I'll show you where it is actually. So inside here, static weather icons, and then all our icons are here. Now, if I go back again to our day data, to our API, there you will see there is an icon property which shows the name of that image. So we'll just put the name of the image somewhere over here, and okay, let's put it to the laptop view and put the icon property somewhere over here, like maybe before the date or after the date, something like that. So how to do it? As we have it in the static directory, so in the nuxt documentation, you'll find in static directory how to use assets or images from those static directory. And to do that, before, if you don't want any prefix to that, you just need to make sure that this here the prefix is false. So maybe we just need to write it by ourselves. So as it says static, the prefix should be false. So without the prefix, we can straight away get it to our folder, else we need to write the prefix like blog or something. So let's go here, and here we can just put it as a separate property, no problem. So here we'll say static prefix is false, and that's done. Let's go to day data now, and here what we will do, we will now use a computed property. So actually we don't need computed property. We will see the computed property later how to do it, so that's not a problem. Here we will say date time, and then we'll put an image, so img, and then src will be a weather icon as an alt. So these are for those all SEO stuff, weather icon, and my image src will be the name of that file. So I will say name of that file, so that would be data.icon. So if I go here back again to nuxt demo, select a location, London. Now you could see, okay, the icon is not displayed, so cloud PNG cloud.png not found. Let's see what's the problem. Data properties. So now we have our icons here. As you could see, like it shows the icons. Now let's make the icon in the inline. So we can say like we can give them a class. So we can say class, and then I guess for tailwind inline display. So we can say inline first. Let's see what it gives. Inline, and then if I go here, yeah, now it's in inline. So it shows us the icon. Now if it's rainy, so it's rainy. And now let's also give the forecast. So if you remember, okay, let's see. So Paris, get data, and here we have somewhere forecast or showing what's the weather, temperature, valid time, weather. Yeah, weather. So we will put the weather there, and we will say here that div weather is data.weather. Okay, so now we have weather, so it shows mostly cloudy. We can also put the icon over here if you want, like you can just straight away take it from here like this, and put it weather like this. Actually before this, something like this, and we can give it a height and width. So we can say height of, or actually something like this, height height equal to 20, width of 20, something like this. So now it is small and nice over there. So now this looks nice. So okay, so once we have this, okay, let's reduce this. So now we have our weather details, and we also have all the things that we need. We can also give here space y, something like space y of 2, so that each element vertically has some space like this. So this is all our data. Now let's go to Cairo and let's see if it difference. So the data is refreshed. Let's see London. We have London data as well. So this is how it works. If I go to Paris, let's see Paris. So it's the British summer time, so it's showing the current time for us. Yeah, so that's pretty much good. Now let's see what else we can do it here. So we are already getting the max temperature or the temperature in Celsius, but we can also get it in Fahrenheit. And here I will show you the concept of computed property. So what is computed property? As the name suggests, is it shows the result after certain computation. So suppose if this is Celsius, and if of course I can get away straight away take the max temperature Fahrenheit from the API, but I would do it with a computed property to just to show you the difference. So once you get the result of the Celsius, you put it through certain formula, and then you get computed property. Const Fahrenheit temperature Fahrenheit, and we will put max equal to, this would be a function, and this function first, like it returns a getter. So whatever you pass in this function like this, so now it will return something like the formula is for converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit is the Celsius value, so it will be data dot value dot what is it, max temperature Celsius, max temp Celsius. This would be 9/5, and all this we will add a certain value of 32 plus 32. That's done. Now let's display this computed property. So to do that, we need to return this as well. So temp max and average temperature Celsius, and in the bracket we will say, not here, it's not average temperature actually, and in the bracket here, sorry, we will say temp max Fahrenheit. go and see what we are getting. So as you could see, here is our computed property. Now if I change it to London and get data, okay, let's do it again, Paris, get data. So you see the computed property changes, like whatever we have the Celsius, it changes accordingly. If I go to Cairo, this should change, like just the first one. Let's see if this change. Yes, it changed. So this is how the computed property works. So it, whenever whatever value we have passed, in this case the data dot value, once this changed, then the computed property associated with it will also be changed. So that's how you have like the computed properties over here. We can also do it for other things, like we can have it for, say, minimum temperature, max temperature, sorry, average temperature as well. So let's quickly do that. So const, and we will have another one. So we will here say temp average, temp minimum, and let's just quickly copy paste this. This is minimum and this is average. Return this quickly, temp average, temp minimum, and then what we need to do is just simply copy paste this wherever we want it, but just need to change it for, so this would be temp minimum because this is minimum temperature Fahrenheit, and here we will put it temp average. So this is how computed property works. Now we have those temperature in minimum, maximum, and average. So that's done. Now let's do another thing. What we will do is we will have a button here and we will show the Fahrenheit details if asked. So we will keep a button, something like, say, a button, and we'll give a class to it. So class, and we will, okay, yeah, we'll do like this, and we'll say show Fahrenheit, or wait, am I doing it correctly? Yeah, that's correct. So show Fahrenheit temperature. Here I will say show Fahrenheit, and here I will say @click equal to show Fahrenheit temperature equal to not show Fahrenheit. And let's have this, return it over here. This would be then become a ref property now. So const equal to ref of false, and what we want is okay, so this thing we need to put it in another span now. So this will go in another span, this will go another span, and this will be another span. So it's span, and this will be till here one span. This will be another span. Then yeah, this looks nice now. And now what we will do, whenever this is true, so we'll just put here if equal to if this is true. So now let's go here, let's do a quick refresh, London, yes, show Fahrenheit, and we are seeing the result only for this thing. Let's give us some styling to that button so that it is somewhat nice looking. So we'll say don't need a class actually, we'll just give it like px of 6, py of 2, 1 actually, and pg blue 900 text wide my. So let's see how it looks now. So we have here show Fahrenheit. Actually, it's going out of the bound, so just increase the height to auto. So this will give you the auto height, and now if I say show Fahrenheit, it will show Fahrenheit for this. If I hide this, this goes off. But this is how Vue components work. So it's very independent. Like even we are using the same component, but each component acts independently. It's not dependent on each other. So here this is acting as if like only for this thing. This function is not related with all other things. That's how you can have like the independency with the Vue component. Hi all, I just want to make this short video as an addition. Mostly you will find this in the previous videos. Like I'll just edit it and put it clubbed together. So one small mistake I did here was actually two small mistakes. One is the Fahrenheit spelling, so I just need to change it back, and that should be great now. If I go back again, this is the correct spelling. And the other thing, which is most important, is the concept of watcher. So here we are using watcher if we want to access this data when there are some modifications. But actually what's happening here is with this two refs, whenever we are getting a new props data, like whenever we are getting a new item, this data property is automatically refreshed. So we don't need watcher in this case. So that's one thing. So in this case, we don't need watcher. But in case if we were like say displaying this data in our console, or maybe we are doing something like say some operation on this except the computed properties, then in that case we will need watcher. So that's the main difference. So if I just remove the watcher and just go back here, refresh the page and select London, get data, it will show me the data of London. If I show Paris, show the data of Paris. Cairo, it will show me the data of Cairo. So that's one small change. Sorry about that. Like we just need to remove the watcher. We don't need a watcher because we are using two refs. So that handles everything for us in just case if we are just displaying the data as it is. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Hope this is not confusing. And also we will see the events and other things in the next video. So till then, goodbye and see you soon.